everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leanna. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the new Smashbox Studio Skin Flawless 24-Hour Concealer. I'm on my third wear test of it today, so I'm not going to do my actual review until the very end of the video. However, I'm going to give you some details and some swatches now before we get into the wear tests. So this is what the concealer looks like here. And mine is in the shade Fair Neutral. So this concealer here is $30 for 8 milliliters or 0.27 ounces. That's a little bit larger than some of the other concealers I've seen at Sephora, but not as big as, say, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. That's like half an ounce. So that's a pretty big concealer, but that's much larger than average. There are 30 shades, and like I said, I have Fair Neutral. There's also a Fair Warm. That wouldn't have been the right shade for me. So there are 2 Fair, 3 Fair Light, 6 Light, 5 Light Medium, 4 Medium, 4 Medium Dark, 3 Dark, and 3 Deep. It's a fairly good spectrum. Could still have a little bit more deep shades on the end, but they do have a fairly good spectrum going and a good variety of undertones. Like they have warm, neutral, cool, peach, golden, and olive undertones throughout the line, which is great. No, this is a huge expansion for them too, because I believe that their original Studio Skin concealer only had like 9 or 10 shades, which was not great. And again, they had a foundation, the Studio Skin foundation. They expanded that as well. Their original line had maybe 22 foundations, which that's not terrible. They expanded that to 40, and it's a really good line that they have right now. So it's good to see that they've been expanding that and listening to feedback, and not just expanding the shades, but the shades aren't good. All of the undertones are really good undertones. They're not really super red, really orange, like Simpson yellow. They are accurate undertones. So that's very good. Now this concealer is 24 hours. It's a creamy formula with medium to full buildable coverage that color corrects under the eyes and conceals without creasing or settling into fine lines. They say it's free of sulfates, SLS, and SLES. I have no idea what that is, and frankly don't really care, but anyway, it's free of parabens, formaldehyde-releasing agents, phthalates, hydroquinone, triclosan, and triclocarbon. Again, I don't know what those are, and frankly really don't care. It's vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. The custom-designed flexible applicator reaches every spot without tugging or pulling. The Luxe Creamy formula color corrects darker circles, hyperpigmentation, and redness, and conceals without creasing or settling into fine lines. They've already said that. Ideal for all skin types. It's oil-free, non-acnegenic, and won't clog pores. It's also dermatologist and ophthalmologist tested. So speaking of the applicator, it does have sort of a teardrop shaped applicator. It's flat on both sides, and it is very, very flexible. So I have been enjoying the applicator. So I will just show you some swatches, get into the wear tests, and then come back at the very end of the video and tell you what I've been thinking about this concealer. This is the Smashbox Studio Skin Foundation in 0.1. And then this is the concealer in Fair Neutral. This is the Colourpop No Filter Concealer in Fair 02. This is the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer in L1. This is the Nude Stix Concealer Stick in Fair, or no, not Fair, Light 1. And this is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C0.5. So I feel like both the foundation and the concealer are very, very similar in shade. They're a very fair neutral with slight peach undertones. Whereas the ones in the center, they're very fair, neutral with slight ashy pink undertones, and then the two on the bottom are very fair with pink undertones. That's why I grouped all of these together. So the Smashbox concealer, it does appear to be slightly darker than, say, the ones in the center. However, putting them on my face, I don't really find that. It's more of an undertone difference. The ones in the center, I can definitely wear. I would say they're lighter than my face a little bit. Although, for example, the Colourpop one is just plain ashy. It has almost like a gray, weird gray cast. The Kat Von D one, once blended out, don't see it. The biggest difference for me is the fact that from here to here, it's too pink. This is more of a proper undertone for me. And now on to the wear tests. So this is wear test number 1 with the Smashbox Studio Skin Flawless 24-Hour Concealer, and mine is in the shade Fair Neutral. They had one other fair shade, it was Fair Warm. I am not warm toned, I am neutral. So this first wear test is going to be the concealer on its own on this side and with powder on this side, no color correcting first. And I did put moisturizer on my face and eye cream under my eyes, just my usual routine so as not to interfere with anything. I just want to get an idea of how things work with my usual routine. And I'm just going to take this oddly shaped Real Techniques sponge. The woman at Sephora that I talked to said that you had to work fairly quickly with this, but she also said that this was more hydrating than the Fenty concealer that I was looking at, and I felt that on my hand. It felt much more nourishing and more fluid. The Fenty concealer, even I was just swatching it on my hand, it felt too dry, unfortunately. I'm also going to put a little bit on my eyelid. I did really like the foundation, the Studio Skin foundation as well. I wear 0.1 in that. That's their new lightest shade. And so that's what a very thin layer looks like. It's not like a full coverage concealer, I wouldn't say. I'm just going to spot conceal on this side as well. This is more on the yellow side of neutral, however, I kind of like that. Some of the other concealers that I've tried have been too pink. When concealers are too pink, they either look orange on me or they look very ashy. Either way. This isn't looking ashy on me at all, and it's also not looking orange. I do think that the woman at Sephora is right that this starts to become a little bit trickier to blend out once you let it sit on your face. So I would recommend blending it out more quickly if you can. I also just want to see what it looks like dabbing it in with my fingertip. You can see it spreads around quite a bit. So I'm going to do the other side now. It does have a nice coverage though, like it's not low coverage, it's not high coverage, it looks quite natural. Now I'm going to set this side with some Annabelle Perfect Matte Powder. So this is the side that I've set. Versus the side that I haven't. So far, I don't think it's even creased on my eyelid. I didn't notice any creasing the other day either, and I didn't set it then, so we'll see. I'll come back in, I don't know, about 8 hours and see what it looks like then. But it's a really nice color. That's it for now, so I'll see you in a little while. I'm back. You're gonna have to excuse me if my chin looks really red. I went to come on camera and I noticed that I had lipstick all under here because I was eating. My lower lip must have touched my chin and I had to like rub it off. I'm a mess right now. So I just thought I would show you what the concealer is looking like. It's looking pretty good in my opinion, but I'll bring you in closer. So if you'll recall, this is the side that I did set. I didn't really put much eyeshadow on or anything, just so that you would be able to see a bit better. There's my very red chin. This is the side I didn't set. There really hasn't been creasing, which is, I mean, that's pretty amazing in my opinion to not have the concealer crease, because I do have deep set eyes and everything tends to crease there. I still want to do a few more wear tests. I want to try it over top of some color correctors, maybe try a different powder, something like that. I'll come back tomorrow, I suppose. I'm coming in for a wear test number 2 today. I have my glasses on. I'm going to take them off, obviously. Today, I thought I would do the wear test over my Pixi Beauty Correction Concentrate. This is in Brightening Peach. So this is meant to correct dark circles, which I obviously do have. I just thought I'd see how it looks on top of that. Sometimes concealers don't sit very well on top of color correctors, so we'll just have a look. So usually what I do with the Pixi corrector is I just take it on my ring finger and just tap that underneath my eyes. And again, having an extra layer under your eyes can fiddle around with the dryness of the concealer. Once again, I'm going to set one side versus the other. I'm going to keep things the same. So this side I am not going to set. Because of the color corrector there, it didn't cover all of that shade, so I am going to have to go in with a bit more than I did yesterday. The good thing is this concealer seems to layer nicely without looking bad, because I did go in and add more and it looked fine. So I'll go in right away with more on this side then. I did, so I don't have to worry about adding a second layer. And today I'm going to spot conceal. I'm going to put some concealer on the back of my hand and I'm going to use a brush. I'm going to try spot concealing with a brush. For that, I'm just going to take a Wet n Wild concealer. A Wet n Wild concealer brush. Definitely a very fluid concealer. So that appears to blend pretty well with a concealer brush as well. I'm going to use the same powder to set today, the Annabelle Perfect Matte Powder. And again, I'll just bring you in closer so you can see. So this is the side that I've set. I hope that you're in focus because I am very visually impaired right now. So I apologize if you're not. And this is the side that is not set. So I think that everything went on top of the color corrector really well. I'll have to see how it goes throughout the day, but I did have to layer just slightly more concealer than normal, but I feel like texture-wise it looks the same as it did yesterday. It doesn't look more dry, it doesn't look more cakey, and it covered the color corrector beautifully, so no issues yet. So we'll just have a look again in several hours. Okay, so I'm back to give you an update. I haven't even looked close up at my face yet, so let me have a look. Everything is looking pretty darn good on both sides, and also I did wear some eye makeup today, and I'm not really noticing very much creasing on either side, so it's looking like you can wear this concealer with or without setting it, and it's not going to disrupt your eye makeup, which is good. So I'll just bring you in closer now. And very, very nearsighted, so I don't know if you're in focus or not, but this is the side that I set. And the side I didn't set, and I really don't detect a difference between the two if I'm being honest. So this concealer just generally seems to be wearing really, really well. So I think probably do one more. I'm trying to decide if there's anything particular I want to do. I haven't tried it over top of foundation, for example, so maybe I should try that. And maybe try using the e.l.f. loose setting powder instead of pressed powder and see if that makes a difference. Those are really the only two things I can think of. Otherwise, I mean, everything's going really, really well, so I guess I'll do one more wear test and then give you my final thoughts on the concealer. So this is wear test number 3, and I'm going to be wearing the concealer over top of foundation today, as well as trying a loose powder instead of a pressed powder. For foundation, I still have a little bit left of this Cover FX Power Play foundation in N0. If I still had some left over of the Smashbox Studio Skin foundation, I'd use that because it's the same sort of formula. They're probably meant to go together, but I don't really have enough of that left. And then the concealer. I mean, considering how red those spots are, I feel like it covered them pretty well. It's hard to get a lot of coverage on really fresh, really red spots, so I think that that did a pretty decent job. So again, going to set this side and not the other side. Going to use the e.l.f. HD Loose Powder in Sheer. This is a white powder. And for Christmas, I got this little set that had like sponges and like a brush cleaning kit. So I'm going to use this like little sponge here to pour some powder into the lid, pick it up on the sponge, and just kind of tap it. And these are from Juicy Couture. I actually don't know anything other than the fact that they made like sweatpants and stuff, so I don't know if these are, if their makeup brand is like cruelty-free or whatever, but they have a really nice brush cleaning kit. Oh my god, I just said something bad. Cleaning kit. And I find because this sponge is a little bit rubbery, it doesn't take away as much product. So like if I'm trying to keep the coverage on like the red spots up here, it works a little bit better. So this is the side I set. And this is the side I didn't. So that's what everything looks like as of right now. Again, I will be back in a few hours from now in the evening to update you and see what everything looks like. And this will be the final wear test for today. Okay, so I'm back for this third and final wear test, so I'll just bring you in closer and you can have a better look. So again, this is the side that I've set with the loose powder today, and I do, obviously I have some makeup on. And then over to the side that I haven't set. Everything is still looking really good. So all three wear tests went really well. There's been like no creasing under the eyes. Even on the eye that I haven't set, it still feels slightly tacky under there, but there's no transfer. There's no even any mascara transfer. There hasn't really been any creasing on the eyelids on either side. So it's just been going really well. So I'm ready to give you my thoughts on this concealer. I think that it's great. I do have slightly dry under eyes. I haven't had any issues with dryness. Even today I put it on these spots up here, which would be kind of crusty. They don't look crusty. I'm not really seeing any texture with this concealer. It's very fluid and creamy. It has medium but buildable coverage. You can layer it up and it won't look bad. Like a lot of concealers start to look really dry, flaky once you start building them up, but this one doesn't. And it's just really nice. So I'm very impressed with it. I had a $25 gift card to Sephora from Christmas, so I ended up only paying about $5 for this concealer, which is great. and I would definitely suggest going and checking it out if you have like normal to dry skin. I don't know how it would work on oily skin. I think that it's going to work really well for spot concealing and under eye concealing. It says that you can contour and highlight with it as well. I just have it in a skin tone shade, so I don't know how that would work, but it blends out so easily that I imagine if you wanted to do something like that, you could. But buying multiple shades in a $30 concealer is obviously not going to be affordable for most people, so that is definitely, you know, a drawback. So let me know if you've tried this concealer, what you thought of it, or if you're planning to try this concealer. It does have 30 shades. They're pretty good shades from what I've seen. I post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel in the afternoons Eastern Time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone.